Ladies, women for refugee women. Hey, hey, happy International Women's Day. Hey, that's the Nigerian version. Then we'll do the Ghanaian version. Then we'll do the Congolese version. And all the other versions are there. All I'm saying is happy International Women's Day. This is about you, celebrating you and your awesomeness. I hope you're doing really, really well. And we're going to have a short chat, but you know what? When ladies are talking, it never really feels short because we are like friends and we're going to have a good time. So if you have any questions, because we're only going to be here for like 30 minutes, we may not be able to go through all the questions, but you can put your question in the chat box, okay? And just in case, I'm getting old, ancient. That's what my children call me. In case I don't see your question, just say, Shola, you have not asked my question. What's going on? All right. Excellent. I want to welcome our panelists. Excellent, excellent. But before I do so, let me just quickly explain about feminist way forward for migrant women in the UK, which is the theme of today's, today's event, and that's what Women for Refugee Women are doing for International Women's Day. And I want us to know that that's what we're going to be discussing and what that means. But we want to hear from you. We want to get your comments, your statements, your agreements, your disagreements, whichever one. As long as you are contributing, there's no issue. Okay, all right. Let me quickly do the intro. So we have Alphonsine Kabagabo, and she joined Women for Refugee Women as the new director in January this year. Give it up, Alphonsine. Woo! And she has 20 years of experience in empowering women and girls and was previously the head of the Africa region of the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. She's badass. That's what it means, long and short. Women for Refugee Women supports and empowers refugee and asylum-seeking women to rebuild their lives, tell their stories, and challenge the injustices they face. And we have Marchu. Make some noise for Marchu, Girma. Come on. You know Marchu is our girl, eh? She's our sister from another mother. And Marchu was appointed the CEO of Hibiscus Initiatives in September last year. She was previously the Deputy Director of Women for Refugee Women. That's why we love her so much. And Marchu is an experienced organizer and dedicated leader with over 10 years experience working with refugees and migrant communities in Europe. Hibiscus works with marginalized Black, minority, ethnic, and refugee BMER. Okay, I've just learned something. Women in prison, in the community, in court, and in immigration removal centers. Give it up for Marchu. Show some love, people. All right. And we have Zrinka Bralo. Zrinka is the CEO of Migrants Organize. She is a passionate migrant rights organizer on the board of the Women's Refugee Commission in New York and the founder of the Women on the Move Awards. Migrants Organize is a platform where refugees and migrants organize for power, dignity, and justice. Give it up for Zrinka, people. Come on. Show some love. It's International Women's Day. All right. Okay. Are we ready? Have you unmuted? I'm only talking to the panelists now. Can you unmute, please? Because I don't just want to see your mouths move. I want to hear what's coming out. All right. Let's start off with Zrinka. What, in your opinion, are the experiences of migrant women in the UK?
So in the UK, we have a system that is called hostile environment system. So that's not some kind of glitch in the system, it is the system. And the clue of what's happening to women is in the name. So across the board, from women seeking protection in this country, being detained, being dispersed, waiting for a very long time, in destitution, having to survive on ridiculously small amount of money, not being able to work, not accessing education, also looking after their families, then across the board, all the way to women who are working as domestic workers, who are trapped in their employers' properties, and also their visas are tied to their employment. So it's a modern slavery, effectively, to healthcare workers. And we've just seen on the news last week that Kanlunga and Filipino Association have brought to light this issue of Filipino nurses who are dying disproportionately in NHS and care services because they're scared to ask for protection. And we've seen a lot of that during the pandemic. And so they're always in the position of somebody having power over them. And that's in addition to all the patriarchy that all women have to experience. So that's a double whammy of different situations in which women find themselves as victims of violence and how they approach a police and seek protection, to no recourse to public funds for people who are experiencing extreme hardship, but also those who are working and have that condition tied to their visas who could not benefit from any support during the pandemic. So on a personal level, on structural level, on cultural level, migrant and refugee women are doing all the work and getting very little protection and very little support and recognition for what we do.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I'll go to Alphonsine.
Yeah, thank you. Probably without repeating what you say, I will start by giving example of myself as someone who was a refugee 26 years ago, not in UK, but when I was rescued from the genocide in Rwanda, and I was so privileged to be brought to Belgium. I was so lucky that the immigration people there believed me. They supported me and gave me accommodation, and they did not put me in a detention. Imagine what happened here. Most of the women are fleeing rape, violence, war. They are discriminated because of their sexual orientation. And when they came here, when they are looking for safety, support, they are met with disbelief because the immigration officers don't believe the stories. They won't prove. I remember when I was a refugee, I was asked to produce the birth certificate of my daughter when my house was burnt in the genocide. So imagine women who come here, they are not believed. So the disbelief is the first thing. And in Women for Refugee Women, the other things we really find absolutely unacceptable is how women are made destitute to the institution. No accommodation, no access to, and some reports we have produced in the past, the team, I was not yet there, as you know, I'm quite new, I was impressed by how they demonstrate by women being destitute. You get them again to be in violent relationships. You get them to experience trauma that they have left behind. But the worst is the detention, putting them in a detention center, putting them in places where they are detained with men, they are detained in conditions that are not necessarily human. And we absolutely, in Women Refugees, we would like to make sure that women are treated with dignity and respect. They are supported to be accommodated. They are supported not to live on the street. One of the things we are working on now hard, and we'll talk about it another time, we believe there's another detention center that is in the process of being built near Durham, County Durham. Imagine another women detention center when women are going to be in jail, when you have left your country to find freedom. Thinking you are going in a country where freedom is the norm. It's not just, a privilege for few. When you believe it's a privilege for everyone. So the disbelief, the detention, the destitution, there are 3D we want to fight. That's why my friend Natasha founded Women for Refugee Men, so we can fight for women not to be destitute, not to be detained, and to be believed. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Marchu?
Yeah, I think I want to kind of add to what has been said already by Zrinka and Alphonsine, because they describe the marginalization of migrant women. But we work at Hibiscus, we've been working for over 35 years with women in the intersection between the immigration system and the criminal justice system. So already marginalized because of their insecure status in the UK, when the women that we work with get caught up in the criminal justice system, it's just an unbelievable mess, the way the state treats them. And I think as Hibiscus, because we work in the courts, we work in prisons, we work in the detention centers, and we also work in the community, we see how harsh, how traumatic the system is. And the key area is the lack of justice this women experience. Recently, we held a roundtable meeting, and one of the women said to us that she was put in front of a judge because of crimes she didn't commit, but the perpetrator, because she's a victim of crime herself. But she felt the judge looked at her like she came to this country to go to Buckingham Palace to chop off the Queen's leg for profit. That is the way that just kind of visualizes how she felt treated. And then she went to prison. And when she finished her sentence, she was then straight away put into a detention center. Wow. So, and even after that process, even when she's now in the community, she still has to go and report. So her prison sentence hasn't ended, and that is how she feels.
That is very moving. That's really touching. Wow. Okay, our next question is, what are the changes you would like to see? What's your feminist vision? So I'm going to start with Alphonsine. Are you first, please? Yeah. What is your feminist vision, Mama?
my feminist vision is a world where women will get the chance ahead. Because as I said, as a refugee woman, I was supported not to be destitute, I was not detained. And now I am the director of Women for Refugee Women. I have been empowered to have the voice. I have been empowered to have the leadership. I would like every other woman who comes to this country to have the chance I had. So I would like an environment that is supportive, that make women feel treated with that dignity, with respect. I would like an environment where women are supported to access, legal representation. What Zrinka was saying, that this health system, that they are not put in jail. Women should be destitute. Absolutely what I was saying before, that every woman is able to have the voice, to be empowered, and to build her life and achieve her potential. Absolutely, without a doubt. So I am lucky to be working for an organization that is able to really fight for that.
Excellent, excellent. Marchu, what's your feminist vision?
Well, I think one of the things going from working for Women for Refugee Women to Hibiscus, one of the things that I feel really strongly at the moment is the feminist vision has to be abolitionist. And that's because as women, we understand what a lack of freedom means. And for the most marginalized women we work with, as women, we have the tradition of being against the loss of freedom, whether it's the abolition movement against slavery, or so many different examples in the past. And so at the moment, we feel that there is an expansion of the detention estate, or the expansion of prison systems, or the government recognizes that incarceration of women is not the way to go. So I strongly believe that we need to ensure that we campaign against any expansion. But if expansion happens, we need to be in those prisons, in those detention centers, supporting the women we work with.
Zrinka, what's your feminist vision?
So my feminist vision is, if there is a problem, just ask women.
I love it. I love it.
So, it's very simple. And especially when it comes to migrant and refugee women, we see all these lots of consultations and policy papers, and we analyze what the problem is, but actually who knows what the solutions are the people who are affected by the issue. So just ask women and just create safe spaces for women to do so. And also we need to tackle things across the board systemically, because we have a system that is against women. And, you know, we need to work together as sisters, but as organizations, as different movements. And one of the things that we've done at Migrants Organized, like Alphonsine, I'm a refugee woman and I've been empowered, and I'm now, you know, have resources to share and platform other people. So what we've done, we're organizers, and organizing is all about listening and listening to what solutions people have. And for 2 years, we've listened, and what we heard, we put together into 35 demands, and we spell every demand. They're not asks, they're not manifestos, they're demands, because we're now at the stage where we just need to demand change. Yeah. And we call it Fair Immigration Reform Movement Charter. And it sounds so radical for people, for us to put these demands out there. But all that we are asking is, well, what I had when I was refused asylum seeker 20 years ago.
Right.
We're not asking for anything radical. It's just basic principles of dignity, justice, and welcome. And also the fourth principle is action, because we're done with talking. And that's why
that's
when
right.
ask women, you're going to end up with a bullet point plan of what needs to happen.
That's fine. You're absolutely right. I cannot disagree with you. Okay, this is brilliant. Thank you so much for your contribution. So we have the next question, which is, how can the audience support your feminist way forward? Marchu, how can the audience support your feminist way forward?
Well, one thing I would like to invite the audience is, we do have an event on the 10th of March, which looks at cultural mediation, because one of the things we know working with the women is that there is a misunderstanding because of language barriers, but because of culture and understanding of systemic injustice. So all the experiences of violence against women and girls. So we've been working with survivors of trafficking for the past 6 months to find out how best to support them. And it's not just about translation, but more about building agency and empowering individuals to demand for what they want. So please come and join us. The link is in the chat box.
Excellent. Zrinka?
Okay, so we have a couple of things. Because we're in a lockdown, we can't be marching on the street today or every day. So we can invite people to have a look at the Fair Immigration Charter and sign up so they can stay up to date. Organizations can also sign up, because we need to build this movement and grow it and nurture it. And movement doesn't belong to anyone, it's ours. We all need to contribute to it. We have 2 current specific campaigns. One is Vaccine for All, because there's a lot of talk about vaccine hesitancy, but there is not enough talk about thousands of people who are not able to register with their GPs, who don't have access to NHS, and who desperately need vaccines. So that's the other side of that coin. And more than 300 organizations already endorsed that. So we need word to be spread. And last week we launched Abolish reporting campaign. Again, what we've heard over the years, and especially in the lockdown, that people are still made to go and to report and travel, change transport with no money. For what? Where are they going to go? They can't, you know, they don't want to disappear. They need to be in the system. They want to be in the system. So this kind of these punitive measures that are criminalizing people all the time, they need to be scrapped. And then finally, if people are interested, we're doing a series of webinars, and the next one is on the 25th of March, and it's on our Twitter feed, but it's called Cases into Causes, Causes into Movements, and how we work around, create a safety net around people's experiences, so they don't speak just from their lived experience, but they speak from the movement, from the community that is there to protect them from speaking, what can be a result of sometimes speaking out. And we all know that. And we have some really great campaigners and speakers, and this is part of educational kind of, let's spend this time in the lockdown learning from each other and strategizing. So once when we're unleashed into the world, we can be ready to rock and roll.
Excellent. Alphonsine?
Yeah, thank you. In general, I would first say, please support us to create an environment that is welcoming every woman, every refugee who came here. So she's not treated like someone who's coming to take your resources. She's not seen as a threat to the country. Generally, I will say that. But specifically, as I have said, we have these potential new detention center. And one of the refugee women in our coalition called Agnes, she has started a petition to really challenge the government not to build that detention center near Country Ham. So please sign her petition. You can find it on our website. I'm sure they will put it in the chat, because we want tonight to reach the numbers she's looking for. That will be amazing. Imagine if we were able to say that the detention center is not happening because one woman got up and put a petition there, and we are all behind her. That one. But the other things, and Marchu will be there on the 25th. This March, like you, Zrinka, we have an event. That event is really to demonstrate the leadership of women from the refugee background with lived experience. This is a coalition we call Sister No Strangers, and they will be really there to demonstrate how women from the community are leading changes, are leading campaign. So I'm really talking about the women who have experienced what we are talking about. So on the 25th, they will be there to really talk about it. So please join. And I'm very, very happy that Marchu, who when she worked with Women for Refugee Women, is one of the people who put that coalition together. So please, all the information will be in the chat. So come and see that energetic and energy and be inspired by those women. But I will not finish without saying, sometimes I feel strange to say that, we can't do all these amazing work without some donations, some funding. So if you would like to support also our funding, please. But in general, also check our website, check our social media, so you can always support our campaigns. Yeah, thank you.
You see, you said that so nicely. I would have said, if you would like to support us, show us the money. Show us the money. Don't let it be lip service. Thank you so much, ladies. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. If you don't, what I would like to ask the wonderful ladies as we wrap up to give us 2 minutes. No African time on this one. Or should I say Nigerian time? Don't be Shola and be talking. So what would you like to leave the audience with? Who would like to start? I shall not pick this time.
I mean, for me, it's very easy because I always just want people to do things together. How can we lift each other up? How can we enhance each other's work? And I'm always keeping the door and all our platforms open, just ask. And you know, I'm getting on a bit, so I want to hand over the baton of the front line, and I can be the elder in the background. But it's a very serious offer, and you know, if I've learned anything, is that when we work together, we're stronger and we can do things together.
Well said, well said. Who'd like to go next? What would you like to leave the audience with?
I think I just want to remind everyone, obviously, we migrant women, refugee women are marginalized women in the society we live in, but those caught up in the immigration system and the criminal justice system are the most marginalized. And I think just to keep that in mind, especially during this pandemic, we've seen all the stats out, all the studies that show how women's rights have gone backwards. And the women that we work with, migrant women, are not only experiencing the pandemic of the coronavirus, but the pandemic of systemic racism and the pandemic of violence against women and girls. And so it is just to keep that in mind and to do all that we can, whichever organization we want to support, so that we can support the women, the most marginalized women in our society.
Yeah. Without really repeating what the Zrinka and Marchu said, I would love to come back to what they say. Help us. What I would like to see, what I would think the panelists is to just go away thinking, what can I do to create an environment where a refugee is welcome, when I can talk to people who are still looking at refugees as these, people who are coming to really take our resources. I remember I had been through that when someone telling me, because of you, I can't have a GP appointment because I can't have social care. Someone told me, Boris has given all the money to the refugees and not to. So how can we please go away and think, yes, I am here because I care, but how can I convince other people who don't to just create that good understanding of we are all human beings with the same needs, same values, and work together to make the change.
What a beautiful way to wrap up today. We need to work together to make a change. We're talking to, we remember that this is all about the women for refugee women pushing for feminist way forward. And you heard what our incredible panelists have said today about feminist vision, what their feminist visions are, what they would like you to do in support. I want you to feel and to know that you can be part of this change, you can be part of this progress, and that you are the progress. Ladies, if you remember me, I tell you this, you're the progress. So let this lift us up today, International Women's Day, remembering that today celebrates you as much as it celebrates me and all of us. So as we wrap up, please remember there are resources in the chat group, and it has all of the information for you to be able to get engaged with Marchu, Alphonsine, and Zrinka, and for you to also, be able to engage directly with Women for Refugee Women if you need to if you have any further questions for them. Okay, all right. So, ladies, are you ready to say thank you? Are you ready to say, oh my God, it's too short a time and we're having so much fun? I was. I know. And look at it, we're even wrapping up on time.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
It's my first time to have an event of half an hour. And I did tell Sam, is it possible to have a half an hour?
Can you imagine? No, even more important is I'm the one chairing it and we finished on time. What happened?
Not the African time, Shola. No.
No African time. No African time. No. Thank you so much. As we wrap up, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful International Women's Day. Go out there and kick some serious ass. All right. Take care now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.